Hello, beautiful souls. You are listening to Starfire, Elemental Alchemy and Zodiac Power Podcast.
where we are dedicated to transforming lives through the fusion of elemental alchemy and zodiac wisdom. Our mission is to empower individuals to harness their inner strength and cosmic alignment, creating profound shifts in energy and unlocking the true power of their astrological and elemental essence. My name is Cami, and I am one of your hosts.
And I'm Tracy, your other host. Let's get to it. Hello, Cami. Welcome to Scorpio.
Good morning, good afternoon, good day, wherever you are at. We are in the Pacific Northwest and it is 71 degrees supposed to be today, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, you guys.
Yeah,
This
it's
makes my
time.
heart so happy. I know. Well, good morning, Tracy, in our world. I am so excited that we get to jump into this next sign that I have deep relationship with, and it is my moon, and it is Scorpio.
I love Scorpio. I collect Scorpios. I love them. I
Ooh.
can see them from across the room. I see those eyes. I'm like, you and I, let's go make trouble.
That's why we're here. That is what happened.
I love me a Scorpio, and a lot of my friends are Scorpio. Um, I find they are fixed water, and so for us being Pisces, I think you always kind of get along with your fellow elemental signs. But interesting enough, I have no Cancer friends. But yet, I mean, always have a great time with them if I meet them particularly, but just don't have a lot of them. But I have a ton of Scorpios. And when I say it's fixed water, we're saying that it's the mode is fixed, meaning it's right in the middle of uh summer. No, not summer, fall. It's right. Where are we?
I know.
Scorpio is right in the middle of fall. And I mean, it's the witchy season. And so the fixed mode asks of the water, how do I embody this element? How do I embody my emotions, my intuitions, my passions? Passion, I think, is a water element, even though it can kind of be a fire one too. And so that's why Scorpios can be very deeply rooted in what they feel and can get so angry at times because anger is one of our most useful emotions. Because they truly identify with that feeling. Whereas an air sign is going to be way more attached to their logical understandings of things, and they're really going to root down on what makes sense, and they'll ignore the way they feel if it makes more sense logically. And for an earth sign, it might be more about how things fit outside of them. How does this work for the flow? How does this work for the family? How does this work for all the other pieces involved? For a water sign, our emotions take the front seat and everything is emotional based. And then we consider what the logic is, and then we consider how the effects are going to be, you know. But we truly just ride on our emotions. And so while Cancer is going, I need to have purpose, I need to like take how I feel, be the poet, express myself and help and just be that empath. And then we're like so into our intuitive body because we're mutable. And so now we're expanding upon these notions and these intuitions and our emotions, and we can kind of get outer space and a little off the rocker at times. But Scorpios are taking those emotions and they're identifying with them, and they are making them, their personality, their character, and all the specifics about what the situation is and what it means is going to be based off those emotions. So they can be super super intense, but at the same time they are great friends to so many because they know darkness. So they can really connect with a lot of people because they have been down there, and they have that and that's what makes them the empath. I think the water signs are the most empathic of all of them, right? Because we're emotions. Um, and so they definitely have that empathic, but it's because of they can hold your hand through that dark side. What do you want to speak to me
Absolutely.
about your perceptions of Scorpios?
Oh my gosh, Scorpios are very intense. Scorpio suns, I do love, but they can be so sharp, and be pokey, because they are very passionate. Most of them that I know are very passionate about what they love or what they don't love, and they will just tell you how it is, and they're not going to move their thought process around it. And here we are mutable water. We're able to flow. We are able to do this dance with people. We're chameleons. That's what the Pisces absolutely we can be. But in a fixed water, it is very emotional, very like outwardly, but then they're like a rock, or they're like a tree trunk. They're stable in their emotional body. And so they can be just really, really, really intense. I love Scorpios though. Scorpios are very, very, very passionate, people. Most of them they are intense, which is not a bad thing. They are sometimes really secretive. They sometimes can be, wield their power through their sexual energy, whether it's a male or a female, because that they can bubble up and bring that passion from the sexual organs, so they can be really intense lovers, and they may get a little controlling, because they want it to be their way, or they may be, just they're magnetic. They have this deep innateness about them. I always envision every time that I am thinking about Scorpios, because it's my Scorpio. I didn't know this for so long in my life that I was a Scorpio moon. And then as soon as I realized that, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Like, I'm a mermaid. I am a mermaid through and through. I have, identified as such for my entire life. And I never understood the fact that I could go into the depths of the earth, the center of the earth, and feel so comfortable being in the dark, being in the depths, going into the shadow spaces, and not want to come out of there. That is a safety net. That is my escapism. That is where I have, like, my automatic place. If there's a conflict, is like, I go down and I'm in it. And then I can stabilize myself to come back out. A lot of people, they might go into the ethers. They might have to be putting their feet in the water, in on the earth. I need to be in the water. I am all water anyway, but I have to be, to anchor myself back in, and to start allowing those, things to percolate through. So when I realized that I was the Scorpio moon, that is where I retreat. That's my number one place of going, and I might not communicate in words. I communicate just by the emotional body. And that has not always been the most successful in my life. And I'm learning that now, to utilize my words and utilize my structure, and allow the not to be just in my emotional body or in my ethereal body. It is to actually be present on this planet, and not, like, not escape on either side. But that is an escapism, is something that I think shows up a lot with the Scorpio.
Absolutely.
um
I think Pisces as well.
yeah,
So, a little double whammy there.
yeah, I think, they are, what was the other one? Emotional, yeah. I just think that they can be great negotiators. They do have, a lot of feelings that they are able to bring to the surface. They're able to talk about really deep, intense feelings and stabilize, and they don't get, they don't get pulled away as easy as us Pisces will. Or even with a Cancer is going to take it all on as their own, right? And then Pisces are going to go back and forth and not know necessarily. Scorpios are able to just be in that emotional space and hold space for others. I think they'd be great therapists that can tap into that energetically. Um, yeah.
I love that. Those are all really great things to point out how you've seen it show up in your own life. And that's why, we make this podcast and do this whole offering, because the more we understand these signs and the elements and the planets, we understand ourself, and we have a little bit more humility with ourself. One thing about Scorpios, if you haven't seen it, you will now. They've got the eyes. They've got the eyes, the Scorpio eyes. Stephen Forrest calls them the hypnotist, the sorcerer, and the detective. You're so
Mm.
cute in your video. I wish people could see. It's like came in. Tell me more.
Yeah, got it.
They are like intense. They almost feel a bit fiery, like you said, sometimes with the sexual energy that they can bring. But in fact, it is water, and it's something else. And I think that's maybe why it feels more approachable, because we don't get so scared of being burned. It's like, oh, they have that fiery essence to them, but at the same time, it's coming from their emotional waters, and so they bring you in. They almost make you feel safe in their fiery energy. I know that's how I feel, and that's why I love Scorpios, because I'm like, oh my gosh, let's go get into trouble, because everyone's going to blame you, and I'll be out. I'm like, I'm following you. Like, that's why I love them. I just feel that they're just so fun.
The name of the snake in Robin Hood, Ka? Is it Ka?
Oh, I don't know. Robin Hood
You know the
or the
kids.
Jungle Book? Wait.
Which one was the one that the eyes are all swirly and it's like it's a
I think it was the Jungle
Disney
Book.
movie. I think it was it Jungle Book? Jungle Book is
Where the little kid lives in the jungle,
no,
and
what
his
was
he like
Jungle
has
Book?
a bear or something as a.
That's Jungle Book. That's Baloo. No,
I don't
no,
know.
Baloo and Kaa was in that one. I can't remember. Sir Hiss from Robin Hood.
I don't know. Oh, you
Okay,
mean like the cartoon? I don't know if I've ever seen the cartoon from Disney Robin Hood. I'm
okay,
I'm like
yeah.
picturing Kevin Costner right now.
No,
A little different. A little different. Nope.
no, Sir Hiss, the king's sidekick or whatever in the Disney film. He has these well, he has these eyes that are like swirly. I think it's when he might have gotten drunk or something. I don't remember exactly, but he is that. So the minute that you said that about the eyes, I just saw that of like these mesmerizing, bringing you as close as possible so that they can, and they probably are the ones that see through you. And that also makes a lot of sense for me in my own human person that is on this planet. I have been told multiple times that I don't know how you do it, but you do it. You see through me and you get the little pieces of my heart and you pull them forward. And I feel super safe in your presence. But there's something about that, about me, that I am just now recognizing that that might be that allure that I've never even realized was a part of my essence on this planet. So that's kind of magical. I, I think though that it can be used in a very negative way at times because I think people that are can be Scorpios have that innate ability to bring you in or draw you in and get into the mystery, but then
Sting
have
you.
it, they may sting you.
Well, it's the
We have
scorpion
all,
that brings
yeah.
us perfectly into the symbol. It's the scorpion, and you can't, the scorpion, you have to get close to it in order for it to be within the striking distance, right?
Yeah.
In fact, let's read from Stephen Forrest and see what he says about the symbol. You lie in your sleeping bag, rigid as a corpse. The desert sun creeps higher, threatening to turn the fillings in your teeth to molten gold. One move and you die. A scorpion stands motionless on your belly. Tension in your marriage, critical politicking in your profession. Yesterday, those thoughts crowded your mind. They were the center of your world. Today, with that scorpion standing there, they seem as irrelevant as a dim red star in a distant galaxy. With that scorpion on your belly, only the awesome intensity of the present moment remains. Everything else, all pretense, all vanity, all ambition, is ripped away. Only essentials remain. And mind, naked and alert, focused, sharp as a cut gem, stands ready to live or die. That attitude, that state of consciousness is Scorpio. I mean, talking like ride or die, right? I mean, and we'll see more of how that's expressed in the cards later. But as you said, like seeing through people, I think they're all water signs are so empathic that I think we're in tune with picking up things that are not being said, right? But with the Scorpio, yeah, it's just that intensity of presence because our emotions are fluid, and so whatever that emotion is right now, they're going with it. It's not logical of what happened yesterday or tomorrow. It's not about what's working and what they can do. This is all emotion and it's fixed. So it's a very strong, powerful, witchy, sign. And if we think about this time of year, it's one of my favorite times of year. And what is happening in nature. And this is one of my most favorite things to talk about because we can learn what we're supposed to be doing in our life by just looking at what's happening in nature. And at this time, everything is retracting and letting go of that which they don't need in order to prepare for the darkest time of the year, for winter. And so they're letting go, they're cutting, trimming the fat, they are receding inward and preparing for death. They are preparing for death. That's what the trees are doing. Anyways, but a lot of plants and things and bushes and all that. Everybody's just getting ready. The animals are stocking up as well. Like the people are starting to try to eat as much as they can, put on some fat for the winter. Like we're this is a time of year that calls to us to go deep within ourselves, to look at what is still serving us and allow the things that aren't going to matter, right? What was truly going to get us through the winter? That's all we need to root into, and everything else can fall away. It will come back next spring, right? And we can build it again. And so, it makes sense that Scorpios can be so intense because they can get to the present moment and what's important in this present moment right now, and they can let everything else fall away. And that can either lift you up or completely throw you off, depending on who you are.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the eighth house. So that was really,
Mm.
really cool that you started talking about that because look at us, look
We're
at
just
us.
leading into each other.
Our Scorpios are just so happy right now. You have Scorpio and Saturn, just as an FYI. So I think that that's kind of an interesting note that we can go back to at some point if you're interested. But um, Saturn is our soul's purpose. And so that I think is really cool that Scorpio is in your soul's purpose.
I'm
Um,
attracted to them. I'm like,
yep.
ooh, what are they going to
I
do?
want more of you. I want more of you because I want this. I want this. But eighth house is all about transformation. And so it is that we're in the fall. We are transforming. We are dying to what was. We are going within. We are all about healing, maybe the inners of our bodies. Maybe we're eating a little bit warmer foods. We're nourishing ourselves differently now. Having those, this is my favorite season of summer is my absolute favorite because I love the sun, but in the emotional body of life, fall is my favorite because it's that creature comforts. It's the time where I'm having my Ugg boots on and I've got a hat on and I've got a warm coat on and I'm walking outside in the brisk air and I'm seeing all the leaves changing on the trees or falling on the ground. I might be doing my mushroom picking, because now that is that time of the season that I'm going to start to do that. They're dying, other things are dying so that other things can come to life. Um, this is so house number 8 is all about transformation. And Pluto is also the ruling planet. And Pluto is again also about transformation. And being that it's about death, life and death, it's about the unconscious, or the subconscious, it's about the desire for power and control. It is intense. Pluto can do some stuff. We're we are in a place. Pluto is now our ruling planet over in Aquarius right now, and we are absolutely having some stuff happen. The Our whole world is in upheaval, and but it's illuminating things that we've never seen before. And what it is asking of us is to transform. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get through the next however many years on this planet, is for us to die to the old patterns, die to the way that we were doing things before because they were not serving us as humanity. We are not honoring Mama Gaia. She will say no more if that is the case, because she's like, hey man, you guys aren't paying attention to me. You are just paying attention to you and your greed and all of your lust and your all of that. And so Pluto is asking us to transform and to die to those other parts of us that are no longer serving greatest humanity. And so, yeah, with Scorpio having that, it's like they have a capacity that I think so many other signs don't have in the same depth. And I do believe what we've just tapped into is the emotional body. Humans, the ones that are in the water signs, have a depth to them that other signs may or may not have. And so they can hold a lot more than just your average human. So I think both of us look for people. I don't have just frivolous conversations with very many people. I go straight to, what are we doing now? Like, I'm not, there's nothing on the other side of me anymore. And I used to be able to have small talk and it'd be not a big deal. But the more I tap into these energetics of who I have as my allies, on not just in my chart, but in just in life, I am now seeing like, oh gosh, I am absolutely an intense human that goes straight to the depths of your soul in the very first time I meet you. Like I don't have an sorry, sorry,
Oh,
not sorry.
100%, 100%. I feel I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I just want to. That's why I love reading tarot, because I get to go straight into talking about the deepest of the deep of people's lives, and I like doing that.
Yeah, we feel
I don't
comfortable
have,
there.
yeah, I don't have time for all the small talk. So,
Yeah. So now let's talk about that. As you're talking about tarot, what are the major and minor arcanas that we have for that?
well, I mean, it's so funny. We've just been leading one thing into the next. I mean, could you have a guess of what you think the major arcana card would be? We've said this word many, many times, or version of it.
Um, I don't
Don't look at
know.
your notes.
No, I don't have it. I don't have it. I don't have it on my notes. I obviously, because I don't do tarot. So let me, for the major arcana,
We've
uh,
just said it. We've been saying this the whole time. We're like, this is what it's about. This is what it's about.
transformation,
Death.
death,
Death.
of course it is.
Something must die so that something else may be born, right? That is definitely the full message of the death card. Which, it's funny, you know, I have a lot of people, not a lot of people, but it's common that I will have a conversation about tarot, and someone will go, you know, they'll make a comment like, Ooh, I've never had my cards read. Oh, like it's like this kind of exciting, and I don't know. And then they kind of go, I don't know if I should. I might be afraid to see what the cards would say. And I always ask them, what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
And they say, well, isn't there like a death card? So let's talk about it, people.
Let's
Because
talk about it.
it's
Because here
not
we are in
scary.
Scorpio.
Yeah, it's not scary. It's beautiful, and it's necessary. It's transformation. And on the card, I like to call this, it's card 13, which would mean that it also adds up to four, which it means its sister card is the Emperor. And I call this the necessary death of a man. Now, does that necessarily mean a man is dying? Sometimes, but it's also could mean a disassociation from masculine tendencies, from the patriarchal way of doing things. It can be, breaking away from our father's advice. And sometimes when I say our father's advice, you might not even have a father, but yet you might feel a patriarchal or an overshadowing male masculine expectation of you, right? So it's any kind of way that you're that masculinity is showing up in your life is on the table when we're talking about the death card. And so when I say it's a necessary death of a man, we're looking for masculine energies that need to come to an end. But we also have the rebirth, and we have newness. We have the sun coming up in the background behind the towers. The towers, and the tower is in this as well, these associations. And the tower is also in the moon. And we see the tower, I think there's another spot the tower comes up too, but because that's always, the towers represent our biggest, deepest, darkest fears. And so what it's saying is your towers are fine. The sun's coming up on them. Like your deepest, darkest worries are not what's at play here. So let that be a reminder, especially if you're listening. Like the death card really is speaking about something beautiful and regenerative and restorative. And remember, you can never lose yourself, right? Our soul is always here. It's outside the constructs of just this one life. And I think that's what this card really shines to, is that surrendering and trusting once more, um, in the necessary death of certain energies. Now, as I had mentioned, I think back in Gemini, we do get two more cards from the major arcana simply based on the element and the planet. So with the element being water for Scorpio, the Hanged Man is a general water sign. And I think, again, that just speaks to our ability to be the empath, because the Hanged Man is about different perspectives, turning things around, looking at it from other points of view. And so that's definitely makes sense that that's a water sign. That's what we're able to do and why we're empaths. And then for the planetary ruler, we have the Tower, which again is about transformation. And also, when we read from Stephen Forrest, it's like the Scorpio's on your belly and like nothing matters except for right in this moment, life or death. And that's what the tarot is. It's like, let's strip you of all the things that you think you need in your life so that you can go into that deep, dark part of yourself and go, what, just like those trees are doing in the fall. It's like you need to retract into yourself, of your core of what you really absolutely need. And it's not what you think, and it's not as much as you think. And that's why once you understand that you have everything you need and nobody can ever take that away, these people jumping out of the burning building are starting to fly, because they're starting to understand they're so much lighter now that the things they thought they needed were just weighing them down. So it's beautiful transformation.
I just keep seeing like one of the things that continues to show up for me in our work, and both of us actually, is why we're even doing any of this is we're coming home to ourselves and falling in love with ourselves. And this right here is that. It is the death of these other things that we've held on to in our life. And yet we have always known what was true and what was real. and we are able to let those other parts of us go and not be mad at them, not be angry at them. They all served us at some point in our life. And so this is that constant coming home, coming home. That death card reminds me of that. Continue to come back to ourselves, come back to our center. And with the hanged man and with the tower, it is we're expansive, like we're able to do something different and look at things just in a different perspective.
Well, and if you take this, the tower's card 16, which adds up to 7. So we're getting that nod back to the chariot, which says, look, don't be afraid. Like, constantly bare your soul, constantly allow yourself to go through rebirths, allow yourself to become the jelly, the goo in the chrysalis, to emerge as the butterfly. I mean, like, I feel like our spirit guides are like, can we give you enough examples? Have we not spelled it freaking out for you people? It's about like death and rebirth, okay? Over and over and over again. How many different
What are the different archetypes that we can show you and help you with?
Yeah, like come on people. But so really beautiful, and but this is heavy stuff too, and it's very scary, and so that's why Scorpio's kind of there going, I'll stake my flag here and I can do the dark work. If we move into the minor arcana, with Scorpio being the fixed sign of fall, it gets the 5, 6, and 7 of the cups. The 5 is Mars in Scorpio, and they call it disappointment. You have a guy, he's in like a dark robe, maybe it's a woman, I don't know, black robe, and he's looking down at these 3 cups that are laying down. But right behind him are 2 cups still standing up, and it's the 5. So let's walk through this. 5 in Scorpio, or Mars in Scorpio. So Mars is very fiery, it's the warrior, it's a bit combative, it's a bit hot tempered. And then it comes into Scorpio, who is already like pretty firmed up with, where they're at. There's no wavering there. Now all of a sudden Mars comes, there could be some agitation. And what ends up happening is a false fight. It's a false fight. I think there's just two really strong energies. Mars is very strong and Scorpio is very strong. And I think it feels like agitation, but there's really no reason for it, right? There's no reason for it. And so what I remind people with the 5 is, and 5s in general, is right before you get to the top of the mountain, in the mountain metaphor, you're almost there. There's always a silver lining. And in the card itself, there's still 2 cups that are turned upright. So it kind of shows that for Scorpios, they can easily focus on the not so good, focus on what's going wrong. Because if they're upset or it rubs them the wrong way and they don't like it, of course it's gonna be something to deal with. They're not gonna talk themselves out of it, like a Libra might be able to do. So disappointment for the 5. Then we move into the sun, and then the sun illuminates Scorpio, and we have pleasure. And in the 6, you have someone with all 6 of their cups, and they're full of flowers. And they're either, you could think that maybe she's selling it, selling these bouquets, or maybe she's just giving them away. I also see it as just understanding how to fill your cup. The cups are full and they're full of flowers. So sun in Scorpio feels really, really good because with it being about death and transformation, this is the part that they love. This is the sun. This is the spark. This is the newness. And so it's like the sun comes to town and Scorpio's like, see why I do everything I do? Right? There's purpose to what I do, and this is why I do the work, because this is great. And that's what this card is representing, just filling your cup and going, this is why I do all those things. Everything has a reason, because I know how to put myself in a position where I'm just feeling really good. And that's the sun's energy. And 6 is that top of the mountain, of course, clarity, they're the best. But then we move to 7, we start walking down the mountain and we're like, oh, Houston, we have a problem, because now our shoes fit a little different and our muscles are a little different moving down the mountain and moving up. Like sevens are always a little bit of a strain. And this is Venus in Scorpio. And so what we have in Venus is all about the arts and about indulgence and about, compassion and taking care and, being very feminine, very warm. It's a loving feminine vibe coming from Venus. She comes in to be with Scorpio, and Scorpio's like, I love feeling really good. I love doing things that are fun. Let's do that. Let's do that. And sometimes what that is not necessarily the best thing for us. And so it's about overly indulging in what makes us feel good to the point where we are now possibly becoming dependent on that outward thing to bring us the happiness. It's like Venus comes to town and they have this gorgeous hedonistic party. And then Venus leaves and Scorpio's like, hold on. That I can't now. All I'm thinking about is that party. I just want more of that party. And Scorpio forgot what they were doing all along. It's like you get sidetracked. You're like, that felt so good. I just want to do that. And we've all experienced that. They call it debauch, like debauchery.
Mm.
And it's a bunch of cups, the seven cups, and they're all filled with something else. One has a snake coming out of it. One has jewels and sparkly things. One has a castle. One has, it's like a person coming up out of it with a blanket over its head, but it's like shining. I'm going to show you. I know you can't see it at home, but I'm going to show Cami here. In the middle here, it's
Mhm,
like
mhm, mhm.
shining. They're like radiating. The way the picture looks, it's like they're radiating, but they're clothed, and so, or they're covered. I mean, this is a pretty powerful symbol of a way in which we can put our masks on. We can be untrue to ourselves. And there is this quote that Stephen Forrest includes, which really makes me think about this weird guy on this card, because it says, for Scorpio, the ally we must cultivate is the part of our enemy which knows the truth.
Mm.
So I think it's really about accountability for Scorpios, and allowing themselves, they're so rooted in the way they feel that for them it's very easy to give into that too much because it feels so good. So why wouldn't we become a little bit attached to that? But that's where the lesson stems, once we get where Pisces is going to walk us through the next 8, 9, and 10, where we truly do come home to ourselves. But this is a hard moment for a lot of people, and I think it comes up in readings for people who are thinking about substance abuse and also sexual
Addictions.
addictions. Yes,
Hmm.
absolutely. And that would be that facade, right? That would be that like hypnotizing. They kind of put their radiance out there, and they do draw you in, right? But this is just a real call to um, not be dazzled by all that is fun. It's like there we have to return to ourselves sometimes and feed our own happiness, because that's when we start losing who we are.
What I just got with that was the external beauty that really does show up with a lot of Scorpios. They are very beautiful humans. And I think there could potentially be an inner conflict with that, because is it about the external beauty or is it the beauty within? And we can get, just in the world, that's how we work, is how we look on the outside. And so they probably get a lot of external validation, and then they feed into that, which then can go into those addictions, which then can go into this, like, always wanting to be in pleasure and never wanting to be in reality, because they have that capability of going so deep and so sensual, but that it might be a blind, like they might have a blind eye to that which is real and what
Yes.
is on the outside.
I think Scorpios often, not often, I'm not going to say that. I think it's possible for Scorpios to feel embarrassed about things that they used to do.
Yeah.
Right. To have reservations and go, "Oh, I used to be like this, but I'm not like that anymore."
I
I
think
think they have to find who they are through maybe sometimes trial and error.
yeah, and potentially like manipulation might show up for them, like that they didn't even realize that they were manipulating because it was just their part of their character of like this allure, you know? But yeah, like it feels very siren-y in the mermaids field is like the sirens that call them in, but then it's to just like chew them up and spit them out for their own pleasure, right? Instead of actually like coming in and staying and being comfortable here. It's this, yeah, there's definitely some darkness on there, but also I just think that for a Scorpio, I would be very interested in having a conversation. One of my people that I follow, she's a triple Scorpio on social media, and she has talked about the, what is raw, authentic beauty, and how can that show up with a Scorpio who has this capability of going into the depths of everything and everyone, and obviously loves to do pretty things and looks very goddess like, but that now stripping all of that away, and where is that beauty within that isn't being, I'm not manipulating anyone by my outside appearance. I am just showing up as me in my full authentic self, and then standing firm in that and not using or giving away in that same place. So I feel like that we definitely went deep with Scorpio. Obviously, that's what happens when Scorpios come to town, and the fact that both of us have it in our charts makes a lot of sense. And the more that we are unpacking these parts of ourselves within this podcast
Mhm.
is it really is a therapy session for ourselves, learning about who we are and how we show up in the world and the characteristics that may or may not show up, or may be things that we still get to work with and walk alongside of.
Yeah.
So
No, I love that. I think we touched on everything. I think we did it.
all right. Well, thank you everyone for being with us as we dove into the depths of the center of the universe with the Scorpio. And we are now going to be going into the fire, the Archer,
That's
into
right.
Sagittarius. So hopefully you'll join us again as we get to walk into this next part of our season.
Yay! Thanks for
Bye
being
for
here.
now.